Hi there guys and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Adria Alpino Rio Grande. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the van as if you were coming on or off site. Starting off, got your black hitch head here and silver lever that you have to have pulled up like so that you can then wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing that handle to snap down, pushing up that red button and exposing a green ring. You have a breakaway cable just here. Now legality states if you have an eye point it has to be used, if not wrap it around the tow bar. Caravan is with 13 pin electric which sits just here. If you have 7 pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. Handbrake is just here. To disengage press down, and to engage just flick up. They can come up with a fair bit of force. The jockey wheel is just here and sits inside the A-frame whilst travelling. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back. We have inserts for your legs. Now the Caravan itself will come with a leg winder, or alternatively you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. As it is an Adria, these are located a little bit further back, so you may need a slightly longer adaptation. Using test equipment today here, so I have a red propane gas bottle. Connected onto that I have an in-date gas hose. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years, orange will run for 10, but I always recommend propane over butane as it has a better performance in winter. That connects onto this regulator just here. What you'll want to do is hand tighten that as much as you physically can and then just nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight as that will put excessive pressure onto the washer that is inside the hose. Once both sides are firmly connected, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. Moving along this side, we have your battery locker. This example doesn't have a battery, but if you wanted to fit one in, you'll either need a 12 or 13mm spanner. Then you have your plug-in for your mains just here, as well as your port just there to be able to lock up the locker. We then have your water capacities just here, so you have your Colorado tap just there. You have an Acrol here full of clean drinking water and your water pump. There is a collection just here for the electric, which plugs in just there, and then this pipe literally just sits inside. You have this white cap to go over the top of the Acrol to ensure no nastiness gets in, and then at the bottom of this system we have your pump. Now it's crucial that that sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through, otherwise you can get airlocks. This cap here is what goes over the top just there. Then just here we have your cassette. Now to remove the cassette, what you have to do is press up on the handle and pull out towards you. Now this handle extends out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. What you'll then want to do is twist this head to the side, open up that cap. You'll then want to tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. As you can see, there was a bit of blue chemical along with some water tide mixed in. I'd recommend opening this capacity here, feeding into fresh water, giving it a shake, and again tilting and venting. And on this cap here you have measurements in both imperial and metric for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, twist the head in, twist it back to the side and push it in so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth. The Caravan itself will be fully drained off before you leave with it. Underneath the lounge seats next to the fridge, you have solar panel regulator. You have your trips and fuses, which is also on a back panel with the lock position up there. The backing of this is the backing for your battery locker. You then also have your brain box for your motor mover. If you ever need to do a reset on it, you can pull back that panel just there. And then underneath this section we have the reservoir of where your water is going to sit, which you can open up the panel just there, and you also have one of your many drain valves. The drain valves are positioned all across the caravan. But what you also have down here is this little switch, okay, which sits just under there, which I will tell you what that does on the panel section. Okay, then just here we have this control panel, which is the newer style of Adria control panel. This is your main sort of interface just here. It will show what is currently set on, which shows awning light, mains in, internal and external temperature, 20 degrees, 16 degrees outside. You can tell that one's external due to the sunshine. You can show that it's got power coming into the van, that I'm currently full of water, no wastewater, and pump is on. So press this battery symbol. That shows you the amount of power coming into the van. As I don't have a leisure battery on and I am plugged into mains, that is only going to show the amount from mains. Press this button to return. Then press this water. That shows you the amount of water in the system and then the amount of wastewater. Lights. So you've got interior and exterior lights. So using this dial, press to turn it off. Press again to turn it on. And then it's the same for your awning light as well, which you can also just dim using that setting, which is set up outside the van on the opposing side. Okay, and then press into select, return just there. You then have temperatures. So internal is 21, external 17. Press to return. Additional settings just here. So these allow you to get set up. So aux, panel light, screen tied out, time and date, temperature sensor, and a bit of information. You then have your pump button down here. So I've just pressed it off. Let's press it back in and pump is on. Now, if you only press pump on through this panel, it will only fill to 50%, which is why you have this other bit down here, which is what will fill it to 100%. Then what you would do once it's at 100%, allow 2 minutes to get it pressurized, and then come over to your tap and open up on both hot and cold. And what you're looking for is a nice steady continuous stream. So simple enough to use on this panel. Power, water, return, light, temperature, settings, pump, main control switch. You'll also have these smaller control panels jotted across the actual caravan, which are for lights and other minor little settings across the van. Now, as you can see on the water, I've got a nice steady continuous stream. What you want to do is open up your taps and allow the water to come through for about 30 seconds. Because what you're wanting is the water to come through nice and evenly. If you're wanting to use your shower and your sink at the back, I'd recommend pulling through there as well. You want to check on both cold and hot. And you're just looking for that nice steady continuous stream. Now, if there's any coughs or splutters, double check that the water's in the correct position, that you've got plenty of water outside, and that the pump is sitting at the bottom of the barrel. But as you can see, if you go back to this panel, now it says 75, and then it will fill itself back up with the water. Just here we have your ADA control panel. So you turn on and off using this button. It shows that mains are plugged into the caravan, and this is your first interface. So it shows you the current internal temperature and the temperature that you'd like to achieve. So it goes up to 30 degrees. You can either tap or press and hold to go down or up. You can then press menu and you come to this screen just here. So you have indoor and outdoor temperatures. Then you have energy, which you press in, and this is what you're using as a source for the heating and the hot water. So you can either use 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts, or 3 kilowatts of mains. Now, do be aware that some sites do not have 3 kilowatt capacity. Or you can use gas, or you can use gas and a mixture. So you've got the choice of gas, mains, or both. Just select what you are wanting to use. You can also scroll down on this and you have a couple more settings, such as priority, so it's going to prioritize electric, load monitor, and a high altitude mode as well. Then hot water, it's either off, on, which will get the hot water to around about 40 to 60 degrees, or boost. Now, as you can see, it will boost the hot water for about 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes, it will then drop itself back to on. So it's just priority of the water over heating the actual van. And then you can press menu again and you come to your additional settings, which again you can scroll through. I'm not going to show you everything on these as they are quite self-explanatory, but we've also set this to what we believe the most user-friendly panel to use. However, if you'd like a bit more information, please have a look inside your book packs. Now, naturally, the screen will fade off when not interacted with in a bit of time. However, the LED will stay on. When you want the Alda system completely off, press in and turns itself off. Then, when you're finished with the actual water and want to drain it off, press in on the pump button to turn it off. Then, come over to your switch down here and press it so it's off. And then you have to go through to all of your drain valves. So, first up, drain valves under your fridge. Flip them both up. There is then another drain valve located next to your pump just here. There is then another two in here with also an isolator. So flick that up like so. There you go. Then you've got to go into the back. Underneath this cabinet there is another drain valve like so. So they all have to be flicked up to drain off all the water in the system. What you will also have to do is come back underneath when you're fully draining it off, and you've got to take out this part here. What you will see is that there is a little hole for this bung to go in, and then when you want the water to come in, you have to press it in and flick it down. But for now, as I'm draining it off, I'll just leave it to the side. It will be in the correct position when you collect the caravan. Just here we have your fridge operation. So fridge opens up just there. To turn the fridge on, press in on the power button. It'll flash up and go to its most recent memory, which in this case is mains on full. You'll see that lights are on inside the caravan. You then have three buttons here, so backwards and forwards, and then a select button. So for the select button, you can press it in to just reflash what you have it set to, or you can press and hold, and you can first change the source. So if I've got mains, this battery symbol, which is only representative of 13 pin, so whilst you're towing, gas, or auto. Now let's select auto today by pressing in on the button. Then we have the amount of power in the van. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 5 being the most powerful, so it is going to chill it the quickest. So you can see auto has selected mains. Now let's say I were to select gas, for instance. I'd recommend running through your hob and grill and oven first to just make sure that it's lighting. But what you may hear is it gradually tick in and then it will be lit. But you don't have to do anything apart from just set it to that setting. So for now, let's just change it back to A and on full. And similar to your Alda panel, this will all fade off. However, this LED will stay on. And then to completely turn the fridge off, press and hold in, turns itself off. Then here we have your hob, grill and oven, all of which just work off gas. So all you've got to do is press in, twist to the side and press in on your igniter. Now it may be a case that these will light and then cut out, or it may take a while for them to light. That is natural. That is the gas making its way through the system. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all burners nice and lit there. Turn it off, back to the central position. That's your same concept with your grill and oven. You've got your igniter just here instead. You can see grill all nice and lit. And finally, your oven. Now make sure as well that these trays do not intrude on the igniter. So press a twist to the side. You can see that gets all nice and lit there. Only other real thing to note, you need to have this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of the burners are cold to the touch. And if you have a gas bottle and you're travelling, make sure the bottle itself is turned off. Then for your toilet pump, just here, pressing the button on the side, and what will happen is that it will push through the water. Now there's not an actual fill on the outside. What it is working from is through the water that is being pulled through from the aquarium. What you will then see is that it will flash up with that, and that is showing that water is recirculating back to the actual cassette. So then to remove your waste, press away on the handle, opens up the catch, and then pull it back towards you. When it is completely full, there will be a red light on there telling you to empty.